Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm excited to share with you the new M4 iPad Pro, Magic Keyboard and the Apple Pencil Pro. I'm going to unbox everything and get it set up, and I can't wait to test it out and see how this performs and check out all the new features. I make videos on digital planning and iPad tips, and I'd love for you to subscribe. I pre-ordered this from Apple's website along with the iPad Air, which I'm going to make a separate video about. So I use my iPad every day for digital planning, work and content creation, and I am super excited to get my hands on this new upgraded model. I went for the silver color and the other option was space black. It's a shame that Apple hasn't come out with some more color options for the iPad Pro, like the vibrant colors on the 10th gen iPad. As for storage, I went for 256 gigabytes, and I think this will be plenty for what I need, which is mainly note-taking, drawing, and entertainment. I love the thinner design, and here are some comparisons to the previous M2 iPad Pro. The 13-inch model is even thinner and is going to make a massive difference in terms of weight. Personally, I found the M2 in 12.9 super heavy to carry around, and I mostly used it at my desk. Another upgrade is the OLED screen, and here are some comparisons to a non-OLED iPad. It is so much brighter and more vivid compared side by side with the iPad Air, and noticeable as well next to the M2 iPad. The front camera is now centered in landscape mode instead of being over here, which I think makes a lot more sense. However, on the back camera, Apple has removed one of the lenses. This iPad Pro features the M4 chip, which is going to be more powerful for things like video editing, animation, and graphically demanding games. The Apple Pencil Pro has got some super useful new features. Frustratingly, this is not compatible with any previous iPads, and you need either the M4 iPad Pro or the new iPad Air if you want to use this. Later in the video, I'm going to show you the new squeeze and roll functions, and I'll also be seeing if my previous Apple Pencil accessories can still be used. Design-wise, it looks very similar to the 2nd gen Pencil, except it says Pencil Pro at the top. You can see it's actually thicker than the iPad now, but it still snaps on very easily. This is the new Magic Keyboard, compatible only with the M4 iPad Pro. I've never owned a Magic Keyboard before because they are pretty expensive, so I've been waiting for this new one to come out. This is apparently a little thinner compared to the previous one, and it has a bigger trackpad, haptic feedback, as well as a new function row, which I know many people have been wanting. It's made of aluminium, so it has more of that MacBook look, and I opted for the white color, which looks absolutely amazing, and I really hope I can keep it looking clean. Together with the iPad, it is pretty heavy, so definitely something to consider, especially if you have the 13-inch iPad. I'm going to be testing this out in more detail later in the video, and we'll see how well this types. I always use a screen protector on my iPad, and I'm going to be applying the Paperlike brand, who are also the sponsors of this video. Paperlike is the original paper-feel screen protector, and this is a matte screen protector suitable for all models of iPad. If you're like me and you find writing on the glass screen very slippery, then a Paperlike screen protector is going to be great when you're taking notes, digital planning, or drawing. Paperlike's unique nanodots are these tiny microbeads that add resistance and improve haptic feedback when using the Apple Pencil, emulating the feeling of writing on paper. The M4 iPad came with the option of paying extra for a nano texture display, which makes the screen appear more matte. However, this feature is more about reducing glare, and if you want to replicate the feeling of writing and drawing on paper, then Paperlike is still the way to go. So if you're looking for an iPad screen protector, then make sure to check out the link in my video description and try out Paperlike. I set up my new iPad by transferring everything from the old one, which is very convenient to do. I also took the opportunity to tidy up my home screen since I had a lot of unnecessary clutter like widgets and apps that I no longer use. I made this heart gradient wallpaper in Procreate, and you can download it from my Freebies vault, which I'll link in the video description. Pinterest is another good resource for aesthetic images and quotes that can be used as wallpaper and widgets. The other widgets on my home screen are from various different apps, and I'll try to put some of their names on the screen. Some of these are functional widgets like reminders and trackers, and others are purely just for aesthetic purposes. I'll be doing an updated iPad home screen tutorial at some point, so make sure to subscribe if you're interested. I'm excited to try out the iPad with some of my favorite apps, and I'm interested to see how this performs compared to my M2 iPad Pro. I mainly use my iPad for digital planning, journaling, and note-taking, and I have a separate beginner's video on that if you want to find out more. Taking notes is not particularly performance demanding, but on older iPads you can sometimes notice a lag when you're importing large files and jumping between different pages. Everything is super fast and fluid on this iPad. I tested out different things such as dragging and dropping images from Safari and Photos, and using the scribble function to convert handwriting into text, as well as a bit of multitasking with 4 different apps using the Stage Manager feature. My old iPad could handle all of these tasks, but it just felt more snappy on the new iPad. Apple claims they have improved thermal performance by up to 20%, and this is supposed to reduce dimming of the display due to overheating. That is actually one of my main gripes with the old iPad, and I'm happy that so far I haven't come across this particular issue. I like to use my iPad for creativity and drawing, and I tried out some of my favorite apps like Procreate, which is what I use to draw all of my digital stickers. My drawings are nothing complicated, but if you want to use powerful apps like Procreate Dreams and Final Cut Pro, then the M4 chip is going to be perfect for handling those. I prefer to play games on my Steam Deck, but it's great to have the option of gaming on the iPad. I tried out a couple of graphically intense games and everything ran smoothly, and I didn't encounter any issues at all. Overall, I'm very happy to have the improved performance, even though it's not leaps and bounds superior to my M2 iPad Pro. Apple has hinted at lots of exciting AI features to come, so I am hoping that a future iPadOS update will give us even more features that utilize the power of the M4 chip. The Apple Pencil is my favorite iPad accessory, and I use this almost every day for digital planning and note-taking. The new squeeze feature lets you squeeze on the Apple Pencil to bring up a menu in apps like GoodNotes, Notes and Freeform, and you can also long press on the undo button to see all of the previous undo steps, which is going to be really convenient for speeding up the workflow. You can also customize the squeeze function and change it into something else, such as erase or bringing up the color palette, and you can even pair this with a shortcut, which opens up a lot more possibilities, such as setting it to open up your favorite app or taking a screenshot, making this a super useful feature. I did accidentally trigger the squeeze a couple of times without meaning to, but this is something you can try to minimize by adjusting in the settings. Another new feature is haptic feedback, which is a small vibration when you squeeze or snap an object into place that lets you know your action is complete. There's also a new barrel roll feature, which lets you roll the pencil to change the orientation of the brush tip, and you're able to see what it looks like before you put it onto the screen. This is going to be especially useful for artists and calligraphy, and I think these new features really add to the overall experience of using the Apple Pencil. I'm looking forward to seeing these features being integrated into more third-party apps. The Pencil Pro also has Find My support to help you locate it when you've lost it, and as for pricing, it goes for $129. I was super excited for this new Magic Keyboard as I've never had one before. I love that it works instantly as soon as you snap on the iPad, and it kind of feels like a mini laptop. I like the aesthetic design and premium feel, but it is very heavy together with the iPad, so definitely something to consider, especially if you want to use it with the 13-inch iPad. The larger trackpad is great for navigating and using swipe gestures, and now there's haptic feedback, which is like a small vibration when you press down. Finally, we have function row keys to change things like brightness and volume, but it still doesn't bend behind the iPad, so you have to take it off to use it as a tablet. It's also not super stable if you tap on the screen, that's another downside, but overall I love it and can see myself using this a lot. The Magic Keyboard is quite expensive at $299 for the 11-inch. I'm scanning a piece of paper to try out the new adaptive True Tone Flash, which can eliminate shadows by taking multiple photos and stitching them together to give the best image. I think the results look amazingly good, and this feature will be available in the Camera, Files and Notes apps. Battery life remains the same as the previous iPad Pro, and this is something I would really like to see improved in the future. Even when I'm just taking notes, I find that the battery drains very quickly, and I also find myself having to recharge the Apple Pencil quite frequently. I love getting accessories for my iPad, and I struggle to find a cute case that was compatible. The previous iPad Pro cases definitely do not fit the new model, so all I got for the time being is this clear case until more options become available. I was very relieved that my Apple Pencil accessories still work for the Pencil Pro, and I could still use my sleeves, alternative tips, and pencil cases. I also got this carry pouch that fits the iPad with the Magic Keyboard, and I'll link to everything in my Amazon favorites in the video description. If you're considering whether to upgrade your current iPad, then here are my thoughts. The key new features are the thinner design, OLED screen, and faster performance of the M4 chip. Personally, I love the M4 iPad Pro, and it's nice to be future-proofed for future iPadOS updates. However, I feel like my M2 iPad was already more than sufficient for what I mainly use it for, which is digital planning, note-taking, and drawing. If you're using a much older iPad model, then I think it's a great time to upgrade, or if you want to use the new Apple Pencil Pro, then you will need to upgrade to either this or the new iPad Air. Alternatively, you could also look at the previous year's iPads, which should have now dropped in price. In terms of pricing, the M4 iPad Pro starts at $999 and storage starts at 256 gigabytes. I'll be posting a separate video about the new iPad Air, which I will link to on the screen when it's available, so check that out if you're interested. I hope you found this video useful. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and let me know your thoughts on the new iPad. Thanks so much for watching.